Sure, I'm Hilda Fernandez, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Camillus House. Well, as Chief Executive Officer, obviously you're at the helm of the organization, really providing leadership and vision of what the organization as a whole should be doing. Clearly, it involves day-to-day administrative oversight of the different components of the organization. I'm fortunate to have an excellent team. It makes life much easier when you have that. But I think most folks don't understand the real complexity of programs that Camillus House provides. I think most people assume we only provide emergency shelter services, but we provide so much more than that. We have programs in human trafficking. We have programs for unaccompanied homeless youth. We have treatment programs for the mentally ill and substance abuse, and we provide a significant amount of permanent supported housing in the community to individuals who have managed to overcome a lot of their issues or are now able to live back in the community, no longer homeless, but are still going to need a lot of support. So ensuring that we're meeting our, in meeting our mission in terms of delivering the services that we want to deliver to help the needy is very important. That we're doing it efficiently, that we're doing it effectively, that we're getting appropriate outcomes, and by that I mean positive outcomes when we serve a client, when someone comes into our doors, that at the end of the day they're coming out better and closer to that reality of being self-sustaining, independent people back in the community. Certainly short term is really just coming in and assessing what it is that we need to do on a short-term basis to make sure the organization continues to flourish and do well. Long term, I'd like to see us look at what areas we can maybe have a greater impact in. So we've started working a little bit on human trafficking. We started working a little bit on accompanied youth. We're working right now in developing really good veterans programs. So long term, I want to build on those programs that really have a very important impact in our community, ensure that we're, again, producing results with the clients, that when people come in here, we're able to serve them to the best of our ability to get them ready to move on to whatever the next thing is for them, whatever it may be. So again, from a short-term perspective, clearly coming in and assessing where we're at in meeting a lot of these goals, and then developing some long-term strategy on where do we go to next to improve, to build upon it, look at best practices and ways that we can do that. So my most recent job was actually at St. Thomas University as Vice President of Advancement in Communications. It doesn't, it's kind of ironic because today's CEO of any nonprofit plays more and more on any given day a larger role in ensuring the fiscal health of an organization. And that means, frankly, going out into the community and fundraising. And frankly, and that's what I did at St. Thomas for the last few years. So I believe it did prepare me in a way to come into an organization that relies on the generosity of so many people to be able to achieve its mission, and understand what, how to go out there and share our message with many potential partners and friends and supporters who hopefully will help us achieve our goals and mission as well. So St. Thomas is also obviously a Catholic organization and very tied. Their mission is very essential to what they do. They exist to provide a great education, but there's an underlying expectation that there's a element of Catholic social teaching in what they do. And here you have a lot of that same sense in the mission and focus of the organization, by not just the mere physical presence of the brothers, but in fact in the way that there's an expectation that our charity is provided, that we're providing a service in a charitable way, in a compassionate way to the people who come through our doors. I think any challenge here, as well as any challenge in anyone in the homeless field right now, is really the continuing need for support and for an understanding of the challenges that are faced in serving this population. People have asked me, why isn't this homeless situation fixed? And I'm saying, well, I wish it were that simple, because if it was as simple as providing someone just a house and nothing else, then we would have solved homelessness a very long time ago. And I also think the local community sometimes forgets where we were 25 years ago, when the homeless trust was created, when the tax was levied, where we had 8,000 people living on the street, let alone very few in shelter, and really a significant homeless problem. It only takes somebody to visit San Francisco or LA or New York to really appreciate what really is an incredibly intense urban homeless population in some of our major metropolitan cities. So, I think one of the challenges is having, number one, people understand that while there's been a lot done to serve the homeless, there still remains a lot more to be done. The job isn't done. And secondly, that we need we can only succeed with the partnership of everyone, and that includes the private sector, the business community, certainly the nonprofit organizations, and the private organizations, be they corporations or foundations or individuals who can support the mission, our mission, and frankly the mission of everybody here doing the same thing in the trenches. We are funded through. It's interesting. If someone were to take a look at what our funding sources are, they would probably be very surprised. We receive local, through the Homeless Trust, local food and beverage tax, state and federal funding, and I would tell you the governmental funding encompasses a large portion, if not the largest portion, of the funding that supports the programs we do. We also receive philanthropic support from a very generous community that understands that we need their help to make this possible. And that is from individuals, from corporations and foundations that support either individual projects or the overall mission of the organization. And again, we have a very generous community, and we're very fortunate in that regard. And they understand that organizations like Camillus, like our organization, need that continued support to be able to continue to provide the excellent services and get these people ready to move on and transition back into our communities. Right now, we're looking at different areas where there are opportunities to serve populations of homeless that until now really hadn't been a huge focus. And for example, the issue of veterans homelessness has really come to the fore in the last few years. There's been a big push because we're seeing more people coming off of active duty, coming back into the communities where they were from with major PTSD and other issues, not being able to assimilate, and in many cases ending up homeless. And there's just, in no world should that happen, where someone who has risked life or limb or lost life or limb for this country in many cases, should they come back and end up in a state of homelessness. So, we're very pleased to be able to look at partnerships with the VA in particular, and helping our veteran homeless be able to get back on their feet again and get, back into, becoming productive members of the communities that they fought so hard to serve and protect. And clearly there's other areas we find, right now the issue with sex trafficking, nobody talked about sex trafficking or labor trafficking 10, 15 years ago, but now we're very blessed to have a state attorney who understands what an issue it is. We in Miami are a hot point for human trafficking, for sexual human exploitation. So, we are partnering, we are very pleased to be able to partner with the organizations here that are doing something about that understand that these are victims more so than people who are willingly going out there and being exploited. And to be able to now partner with them and provide a safe, compassionate environment, provide the necessary services to these women, and in some cases men, to be able to, again, live happy, productive lives after having gone through such incredible trauma. Those are great partnerships that we're forging, and we're very happy to be providing that kind of resource. There's no doubt that a homeless person is going to present with incredibly acute issues, which is the product of not having taken care of what often can be, for the rest of us, relatively benign problems. So that just means that the care associated with how to get them ready to progress and stabilize and get ready to move out on their own becomes a little bit more complicated. If you come in and you've been ignoring healthcare issues and you're an addict, how you treat that person is going to take a different approach, or you have a mental health issue that's got to be addressed. And plus those two conditions, what they do to your health as it is. So it is a huge component. We're very fortunate that we have an access center here. Obviously our sister agency, Camillus Health Concern, is an incredible and vital partner in what we do. And we understand and recognize the need to connect our clients immediately to healthcare services and provide them quality healthcare services to address that. Everything from podiatry to dentistry to primary healthcare services to address issues typical of the homeless, such as hypertension and diabetes, which are products of not being able to eat well or have a healthy, normal lifestyle because of the condition of living on the street.